Suppose you have a disability that requires you to go on medical leave for a few weeks or for a few months or even longer. This could be a serious back injury or an illness such as diabetes that causes you to experience all kinds of symptoms, or migraines, or any other condition that significantly limits or even prevents you from being able to perform your job duties. Then after a few months, you come back to your regular job duties or maybe to a modified duty with certain restrictions, but you still need to take time off, maybe a day or a couple of days periodically, every few weeks or every month, for reasons related to your disability, such as obtaining treatment for your disability or maybe because you have certain flare-ups in your condition. If you work at a large company, there's probably a phone number where you call to notify your employer of your upcoming absences, or maybe there's even an automated number where you just dial and there's no one to talk to. You just press the numbers to let the employer know that you will be out on that day. It's very, very important that you let the employer know in any way possible, by fax, by email, or otherwise. It's very important that you let your employer know that each and every absence that you have is because of your disability, assuming that that's the reason. Because if you don't, then what's going to happen is that you're going to hit a certain number of absences that exceeds the number of absences allowed to take for any reason at your workplace. And then the employer is going to terminate you, saying that you violated their policy, that you exceeded the number of absences. And then at that point, you can't simply come back and say, look, I have a disability, I had an injury, I was on medical leave for a few months, and all these more recent absences are related to my disability. You can't simply say that to an employer, because the employer and their attorneys are going to say, look, how are we supposed to know that those more recent absences were related to your disability? You never told us. You would call in, you would say that you were sick, or you needed to go to this doctor, you needed to go to that doctor. How are we supposed to know that those specific days off were not for a flu, were not for cough or congestion or some other stuff, but they were related to your actual and recognized disability? So it's very important that when you take days off after returning from disability or medical leave, it's very important that you notify your employer exactly of why you're taking these days off. If the system where you call in and let the employer know of your absences, if the system doesn't allow to include such a detail, you have to do whatever it takes to put the employer, which means to put your supervisor or your second level supervisor or your HR department, or preferably all of the above. It's your responsibility to put all of them on notice with respect to every absence that you're taking because of your disability, that the reason you're taking that day off or those 2 days off is because of your condition, because of your illness that qualifies as a disability and entitles you to these days off as an accommodation.